Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 37 and 62-year-olds from Stratford, or more precisely Tavistock, Ontario, Canada. Their hockey journeys took them to Canada and the USA. Staples and legends of the Stratford Cullitons. One returns to the shed after episode 96 with Stretchy and Daryl, has just surpassed 400 plays or goals, and is best known for almost completing the 2-mile run in 12 minutes while attending Western Michigan University. The other fella comes to the shed as, I think, our first NCAA Division I champion, where he ran amok with the University of New Hampshire. But he is best known for his rendition of the song My Humps in the U Club of Kalamazoo. Welcome back and to the shed, Ross and Reid Yantzi.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks, Wally. It's great to be here. I just want to straighten out one thing.
What's that?
I wasn't an NCAA champion. We went to the Final Four twice and lost both times. So
I still don't have one. Then what was you got like a certificate? You said
it's like a participant ribbon.
Oh my God. Now I feel bad I put it on the poster. You got to be a lot more proud of it than our hockey accomplishments at Western Michigan, Avery.
Yeah, more than we got. Way more than we got.
Yeah. I don't think they gave us a participation certificate.
No, isn't that what the running was all for? Isn't that why we ran?
We did participate in a lot of running.
Yeah.
You guys had it easy. We had in the off season, we had to run 5 miles in 35 minutes.
5 miles in 35 minutes.
Wait, so they had to do what we did, just times way more. It's the same pace.
That doesn't sound like that's attainable. I didn't say if I got my math hat on right now, that's 7-minute mile. We were doing 6-minute mile, but you're running that much more. Zero chance I could do that. And there's zero chance I could do 2 miles in 12 minutes. I almost got it. I think I was like 13 and a half, right?
I didn't do the first 2 miles on that 7-minute pace. There's no way. I think I was like
Reid, you weren't close. you weren't close at all. I put it in the opener. I think you were 15 and a half, man.
That's what I mean. I wasn't under 7-minute miles. No way.
You were breathing heavily. You were breathing heavily after a couple laps.
Oh God, yeah.
But gorgeous shirts you fellas are wearing, and I get into how we know each other. And this is like the very first shed visit where I've just seen you guys.
We've been good too.
Yeah, you were just in the shed for real. What?
How many people on the pod have been in the actual shed? We might be the first.
No, there's been a couple. There's been a couple
the boys,
fellas. Yeah, there's a few locals. But anyways, so how we know each other is you guys were just here. Well, first off, I'll get into that. Reid, you were my college roommate the whole time at Western Michigan, right? We'll get into that. But you guys were just here for the Kincardine Silver Stick tournament. And shout out to all the volunteers and Derek Burrows, episode 35, I think, and McQuillan and all the minor hockey fellas that put that on, because if they don't volunteer and still set that up after the pause, if they just let that slide and don't make it happen, like all those kids wouldn't have got to have that memory with their buddies, right?
No, sure. They could have easily said, all right, well, let's prepare for next year.
Yeah, they did. They made her happen. So well done. And shout out to the under 13 Kincardine Canucks that won it. They won the whole deal at home. So I'm pretty sure they had a fun night in Kincardine.
Isn't every night a fun night in Kincardine?
They can be if you're in your shed. But the other part of how we know each other is you guys are the only ones that know about the Walton's favorite store in the world, the Random Store.
Great store, man. What a store.
Yeah,
Daryl's purchases. Yeah.
So the Daryl, I was gonna say Daryl's maybe makes the store. The store is just a store, but the
Daryl's a big part of it, right?
It's for sure. Not too many stores you can carry a 15-pack into and leave with only 4.
And there's not many 7-year-olds that on their birthday say, I want to go to the Random Store, right? So Zoe,
Yeah.
shout out to you. That's what you want to do on your birthday. And you know what? It's what your dad wants to do too. During this COVID baloney, we go to the Amberley store. We pick up a couple tall boys, go to the random store with Daryl. We stop in. I shoot the shit. We drink a couple tall boys. And then the kids search his antique store and find the coolest shit you can find as a kid, right? Like, talk about entertainment.
I've used my candy dish a bunch of times already.
Yeah, I used mine too. But some of the stuff we've got there, easy bake ovens, a Thor hammer, an old wooden thing, and like different weapons for Colby, and the creepiest dolls you could ever find. And like, it's a flat fee, $20 a trip.
Just the beers that you brought in, that's all it cost you.
Well, that is, sometimes I get freebies now that we're real boys. It used to be $20 for whatever the kids found, but yeah.
The kids both left with stuff. I didn't see you pull your wallet out.
I supplied the beers. Yeah.
Even the 2 old kids found a couple things.
You guys did, right? What was it? You got coat hangers with railway pegs.
Railway nails.
Yeah.
To live edge wood. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and like he's making good stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's really fun. Some of the shit the kids found in there, like the pictures we get to take every time we leave with whatever we found, it really is and it's right around the corner from my house. What great entertainment. Just good family fun at the antique store. So thanks for coming.
Hey.
And Rito, you stayed for an adult sleepover. That was also fun.
Yeah, that was a great time.
I guess the only other thing though is we gotta dissect my dinner, okay? Because I wasn't good enough. I put in a lot of work because Zoe asked for homemade pasta. I went all day, I grinded it out, I make her homemade pasta, and then I don't go through the effort to make a good enough sauce. I served it to you guys plain with just a little bit of spinach, right?
Yeah, but it's like the NHL games. You still got a point. Even though you lost in overtime, you still got a point.
Did I get to overtime just for making the noodles?
Oh yeah.
It didn't once I ate it, I didn't feel like a win. It didn't.
Well, it wasn't a win. It was a 1-point tie.
I didn't have my A game, but I grinded it out. But it was just the finishing touch. I didn't have any finish around the net. Like I get all that work. I get right by the net, and I don't make the little sauce to make it all better. Right? I don't make a couple more vegetables in the bowl just to make it a little bit better.
You were down early. They were looking a little runny at the start. You were down a couple goals early on. You right. Battled back. You thickened it up. Add a little extra flour. And look, you made homemade pasta noodles. I mean, I can't do that.
Well, Zoe was happy I did make the noodles because she likes them plain. But for your guys' sake, I just don't feel like it wasn't my best effort. And I'm sorry. You got to review the performance, right? You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? Noodles were fine.
Let's make it a 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
we're up 1 game.
Oh man, the mess. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go through that till our next birthday.
Well, there's a silver stick next year. Coop's still in U15 next year. Still, he'll be back in Kincard in December next year.
I can't wait. Adult sleepover.
100%.
So I guess the other way we know each other then is the Cullitons versus Sugar Kings is when we would have first met Yantzi. Mm-hmm. Junior B. Roscoe, you were just watching back then. You had been the coach, right? Before
I did coach there before. Yeah, I played there and coached there, and then I was watching you guys at that time, like a good parent does up in the stands, and it was a good series. I thought for sure Stratford was going to beat Elmira, but it wasn't meant to be.
What year did you think they were going to beat us? Even Reid deep down knew he wasn't going to beat us.
Wally, 1077 when we beat him.
Oh, okay.
I would say it was a great rivalry, but don't both teams have to win once in a while for it to be a rivalry?
Wow, it was more just. And I've had Jeff Van on before. He's as competitive as they've ever got, and he got cut from you guys, and every time he played you, he just really got upset.
That was really the demise of. That was the deciding factor in that, because if we didn't cut, if he didn't get cut from us, he wouldn't have had the fire that there's no way he played with the fire he played against the Cullies.
No, well, it was a little bit more amped up for you guys, but he was pretty fired up all the time. It didn't matter if it was even ping pong, man. Even in ping pong, he was fired up.
Well,
but shout out to the Sugar Kings. They are donating a game worn jersey. Yeah, the folks will be able to pick the green or the white one, whoever wins. But we're gonna have a raffle, and former Potter shed guy Kyle Rank runs a charity for people to give kids equipment that can't afford it. It's called Friends of Hockey. So we're going to raffle off the jersey on my website. And then apparently I'm going to get to go out at center ice at a Sugar King game and donate the check from 2 L's and Hockey Tales to Ranker.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'll be good.
That'd be really fun. And the other jerseys we got up.
Opening face off.
I don't know if I'll get to do that, but I just think it'd be cool to get a picture with the check, and that like drinking beers with you guys can help raise money for shit like that, right?
You're gonna get a big novelty one, right? Like a huge one.
I would like to, right? You don't want to give them a little one. That picture would suck.
No, you got to get a big, huge one.
Yeah, with my logo on it, right?
Oh yeah, big time. Hanging in the shed.
Let's do this. Yeah. The other jerseys up though is the Matt Sundin. By the time people listen to this, it'll be about done, but it's ending on I think in 3 days, whenever that is. So 3 days, that's over. So buy your ticket at aleshockeytales.com, and it's an actual Matt Sundin signed Leafs jersey, folks. That's cool shit. So buy a ticket. And Matt Carruth has a Cardiff Devil goalie, has a signed jersey or game worn jersey and stick up for raffle to raise money for hemophilia for his nephew. So, Shed's helping people out by crushing beers, right?
I just want to let everybody know that sweater, I touched it the other day, last weekend, and it is authentic. It's got the autograph on there, and I can feel the Maple Leaf power come through my arms.
It's legit, folks. I even have a letter saying it's legit. So buy your tickets, and for the money for the Sundin jerseys going to Sick Kids Toronto. I don't think I said that. Anyways,
where do I buy Wally? Your website?
aleshockeytales.com.
Ales Hockey Tales. Okay.
Yeah. And then we're going to keep doing raffles, but you got to make an account, and then you can buy tickets for all the raffles, But once you set up an account, folks, it's real easy. Okay. Anyways, and then I guess the other part is how we would know each other, Roscoe, is when we went to Western Michigan, the parents came a lot too, didn't they?
We came a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we wanted to be students, but we were too old.
Well, you didn't act like it.
No, well, that was part of it. That's why we like
you guys were actually teaching some of the college kids like how to hang.
Well, we've got a little bit of experience behind us, so I can see why that would happen.
Well, and I could see it, right? Like if my kids ever went to college like Western Michigan and I was older and I got to go hang out there for a weekend, I would want to do exactly what you guys did.
Oh
yeah.
My favorite
going back to the hotel room and hanging out there by ourselves.
You wouldn't want to go back there and hang out by yourself when you go to the U Club and we had a stripper pole.
Yep.
Yeah, crush drinks. My favorite thing was the vodka taste testing that they would do, but it was always, I think it was 5 o'clock vodka was always one, and Smirnoff was one, and there'd be a Grey Goose bottle, but all 3 cups would have 5 o'clock vodka in there, and they would have people picking which one was the Grey Goose, taking 3 shots of 5 o'clock vodka.
I would have to say my favorite memory was when it was a very carried away party, but when 2 gals had my parents pressed up against the wall and were trying to trying to get to know them.
Trying
in
to
the
hump
kitchen.
Were they trying to hump the hump?
Yeah, they were being forceful, I think. But that stripper pole in our apartment, I think that really, I guess it brought a lot of entertainment, right?
It set the tone when you walked in, really. When you walked in there and you kind of went down, you looked down and you noticed there was no shoes by the door whatsoever. And then you realized everyone was wearing the shoes. And then you kind of looked over to the side and there was a stripper pole in the corner. And then you're like, all right, I know what's happening in here.
It's that type of a party, I guess. Eh?
For sure.
There's some memorable stuff that, like, if you just don't have a stripper pole there for the opportunity, it just, the things don't happen, right? Like Jeff Pierce, I remember, had a memorable dance. Roscoe, I think my humps came on and you had a pretty memorable dance one time, but was that at the U Club? Where was that?
That might have been at the U Club, but I know that the clothes were still on.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, but that we never had people really strip and get naked,
No,
right?
no,
It was
no.
all in good family fun, just like the shed, folks. PG. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now,
Okay, so we can get into Western Michigan a little bit more later, but last thing, how we know each other. I guess, folks, if you're not figuring it out, we know each other quite a bit by now. I guess I've known you since Western Michigan, but knew of you and the Cullitons. But okay, I've stayed in your condo in Collingwood. That's right on Blue Mountain, right?
Yeah, you betcha. It's a great place to go skiing.
It really is, and
Lot
that
fun.
brings up today's sponsor, Property Valet and Stay in Blue. It's two guys that I used to work with at Superheat that are now working there, and you have a deal with them, right? You work with them out there.
Yeah, we go up and use our condo, and then when we're not using it, they'll rent it out and they'll take care of it like a VRBO sort of thing. But
They basically do everything for
they
you,
do
right?
everything. Yep.
Yeah, like I don't think they will wipe your ass, but they pretty well will do everything else for you, right?
Yep. Well, then
Yep.
everything after they do all that stuff, they send me a check at the end of the month.
Yeah, and so
Nice.
folks, they got both sides. They do property valet. So if you own a place in the Collingwood Blue Mountains area, they'll manage it all for you. And then they got stayinblue.ca, which is where you can go for vacation, skiing, golfing. That's what I did. That's what I was there for. I was on a golfing trip, and really funny story from that trip. But anyways, it's right on Blue Mountain, and they have tons of places just like Roscoe's here. And tell you, it was one of the funnest trips I've had since moving back to Canada. And that's with Property Valet and stayinblue.ca, folks. Shout out to Dave Murray, the goaltender for the Walkerton Chiefs. You know, he walks like a goalie, talks like a goalie, and I miss him at Superheat. But they've built quite the empire out there. So keep up the good work, fellas. And thanks for sponsoring the shed.
Yeah,
Right?
they're good. They're good guys.
Well, and if you want to get into bed with good guys, right? That's a good company to work with. Or if you want to go to Collingwood Blue Mountain, there you go, right?
They'll take care of it for sure. Yep.
Yeah, just not wiping your ass, folks. Right?
everything but the ass wipe.
Everything but the ass wipe. Okay. Roscoe, where and what are you doing now?
Well, we're working in the landscape construction business. Reid and I are partners, and it's something I started a few years after I got back home from college, and just started with a pickup truck and a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and now we've got excavators and skid steers and dump trucks and all kinds of things. So
I watched some of the stuff on Instagram, right? It's what Pavestone Plus, Ross Yantzi's Pavestone Plus, and some of the shit I see on Instagram. You guys pretty well do everything. You even do pools and mini golf stuff, right? Not mini golf.
Putting greens. We'll
Putting
do
greens.
pools.
we don't install the pools, but we work around a lot of pools for sure. But
Right.
artificial putting greens and lawn replacements.
I always remember Reid's outdoor kitchen with like the built-in barbecue always got me hot and bothered. Never had such a thing.
That was sweet.
Mm-hmm. So you do that sort of stuff too, right? You can make the outdoor kitchens.
Yeah, everything. Anything you want outside your house, basically, we'll do it for you.
Yeah, that's Ross Yancey's Pavestone Plus, folks. Don't get it mixed up with Reid Yancey's. It's Ross Yancey's, right, folks?
I remember one time that there was 4 people stopped in at our house. I think it was you and Chauncey and Dana and Scott, and they came here at 4 o'clock one afternoon. Or
we stopped in to see you. That's just the hockey family. Cabinet maker, Canadian Pale Ale.
Get some travelers, and you got out in the on the tee block, and our putting green was about 60 yards away. Chauncey got a hole in one. first shot?
I think it was the first shot. He got an actual hole in one, folks. Like you only had one hole on that green, right? And it was a 60-yard shot.
We had four. We had four
holes, but his first shot was a hole in one.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Getting it in the holes was impossible. It was like you had to bounce it up on the actual grass before it hit it to get it to stay. It was a tough shot. The hole one out from there was impressive.
It's really cool that you guys had a 60-yard shot in your backyard, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
really
cool.
Dialed the golf course from 60. That's about the only yardage I know for sure I can hit. 60
yards.
So you could, Roscoe, you still golf a lot, eh? Because you sent me that picture for your poster where it looked like you had to poop.
Well, maybe I had to. I'm not sure.
You just had a very awkward like squat with your legs really tight together. You weren't you weren't even letting the boys breathe at all.
That was on hole 15. Maybe I had to pee too. I'm not sure.
Maybe you just shanked one, eh? You were feeling it. There's no way you hit a good shot after you posed for that photo.
Well, we do golf a lot, and I try and keep up to my wife Rose and Reid's mom Rose because she golfs as much as I do. So
really, that's good. When they golf that much, that's good. Yeah,
I need to golf 3 or 4 times a week to keep up to her. That's
kind of like skiing. When I was in Europe, I would have skied way more, but Lisa had never really done it. And that's like same with golf, right? If you get the wife into it, you're golden.
Yeah, it's a good activity to share.
Right. It's one of the good activities to share.
That's why they golf together. They golf 4 times a week, but together once a week.
So Reid, I guess we've covered where and what are you doing now? You're working with your old man, but you're probably a little more in the action, eh?
Yeah, I'm still running a crew. I still go to the job site every day, slug away.
Yeah, and Ross is just up there in his ivory tower, or what?
Oh no, he's probably the busiest one. He's got to line everything up and do all the stuff that no one sees, all the hard work.
Right.
Actually building the jobs is easy.
How many guys you guys got then during on season when she's go time?
6 guys in the construction. So me and 5 other guys so 2 crews of 3 is what we've been running for the last little while. Yeah. And then Dad takes care of the sales, estimating, scheduling, product ordering, all the other stuff.
The office stuff.
See, if we had 3 crews, then I wouldn't be able to golf as much.
Yeah, you don't need that, right?
There's a trade-off there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to know how much to do, right? You got to still live.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, for sure. You can't be. Well, yeah, you got a 3rd crew. We need to hire.
And you guys are busy in the summers, realistically, right? Like that's your go time, and that kind of like that's always not that fun to be always busy in the summer, is it?
Well, we work about 8 months of the year, and our guys only work 5 days a week. We don't work Saturdays or Sundays.
Well, that's good. So they still get their summer.
Usually back at the shop by 5 o'clock at night or 5:30.
And you never have a beer after work, right?
No, I don't think there's any.
There's no team camaraderie at the end of the day. You guys don't have beer in the shop, right?
Garbage bags full of empty beer cans sitting around that shop at all.
No, there wouldn't be. That's a workspace.
Yeah, if we did have those, I should have taken them to our bottle drive for Coop's ball team, and I forgot to. So they're still sitting at the shop, the theoretical cans of bottle or bags of cans.
All right. Okay. So I guess that's what we're doing now. And you said you started that business basically right out of university, right? When you moved home?
In 87, I graduated in 82.
So what makes you think to do that? How do you get into that? Because I always find it interesting what hockey guys choose to do after. Like, how do you choose that?
I worked at that as a student for
and
a company.
You learned it.
Yep. So kind of learned the trade a little bit, and then went into the feed business, which our family's in, and my training is in, and did that for 5 years, and then thought I needed a change. So
in the feed business?
Yeah, our family's in the feed manufacturing business. So we supply farmers with feeds and fertilizers and things like that.
And things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that industry that well, you know. I always lived near the farmland and everything, but I never really knew much about it.
Well, when that jug of milk came out of the fridge,
Yeah.
it actually came out of a cow.
No, actually, when I was playing for the Wolves, the fellow that saved me on our side roads there, you remember when I was showing you the back roads around here?
Yeah.
The fellow that saved me when I was stuck on the side road a couple weeks ago, when I was with the Wolves or whatever, when we were hanging out more often before things were busy, I went over and milked his cows one morning at 6 a.m.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. You do know where the milk comes from, Wally.
Oh, I've milked cows. Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, the people that know the and stuff part of that one and feed and fertilizer and things, the people that know about that know what he means.
Yeah. Well, I was actually, it's funny joke because when this guy keeps making clothes and stuff to sell, I'm like, well, I think we're going to have to find more udders to milk because we can't keep milking the same udders. You know?
That's right.
Like, you got to find more people to buy clothes because you can't keep milking the same udder. Oh, shoot.
Sometimes that cow goes dry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's just no more milk to give. Okay, so you guys, Ross, did you actually grow up in Tavistock or Stratford?
Yep. Born and raised in Tavistock.
And Stretch says everybody in Tavistock's named Yantzi. Is that true?
Not quite everybody. There's been some imports coming in.
That's good. You got to get some fresh blood out there, right?
Yep, it's hybrid vigor. Changes the bloodlines a little bit. So
yeah, that's good.
We even confused a few people by changing, Yantzi spelled with a Y. We changed it with a J to make it Yantzi.
Yeah,
just to make it look like we were a different crowd.
That's a silent J.
Yeah, exactly. The J sounds like a Y.
People thought it was Jancy, but it's still Yancy. So it's a strange intersection in that town, though, eh? The 5-way thingy majiggy. Right?
5 corners.
Is there many accidents there?
Not anymore now.
Yeah. There's lights there now, and there's a lot of the times you'll find someone that gets caught in the kind of in no man's land, because a few of the things like the stop line.
If really I feel like if someone's watching a GPS and like they pull up there and they're like, okay, I got to turn left. But then when they start turning left, they're like, whoa, there's more than one left.
There's 2 lefts and 2 rights.
Which one do I take?
No straight. You can never go straight. You always have to put a signal on. You're either veering left or veering right, or turning left or turning right. There's no straight.
No straight. Fun intersection though. I always get a kick out of it every time I cruise by.
There's interesting things. You see some interesting maneuvers in there.
Yeah, and then Chauncey shows up and hits a hole in one, and everybody's having a day. Okay, so Roscoe, how did you end up getting into hockey then, growing up in Tavistock?
Well, I grew up with 3 older brothers, so we played on the ice rinks at home, and I had 3. Of course, I had to keep up to them, so that helped my development a little bit. So I played minor hockey in Tavistock, played a little bit of junior in Tavistock, and then went to the Stratford Cullitons. Played 2 years there, and then.
Did you play in the William Allman Arena back then?
Yep, the William Allman Arena.
Would it have been? How old would it have been at that time? How old's that arena?
Well, I don't know. It's old. It's got it's a classic for sure.
When we talk about arenas,
when he played there, Wally, it looked the same as when we played there. Like when he played there in the 70s, it didn't change until like after his like 3rd stint coaching in the late 2000s, like is when they renovated it. It stayed exactly the same, other than some paint touch-ups, I think.
So when we played there, it's still the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a little bit different.
I really think that arena, when I talk in the shed, and we always talk about barns around the world, I think that is one of the best arenas in the world. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, the ice is a little bit smaller than it should be, but
that's what I'd like. You got to
and the
skate too
dressing
far
rooms
when
are a
they
little
make it
bit
big.
smaller than they should be, but it is a great place to play.
Yeah, the
Friday nights there.
atmosphere.
For a
It's the best
junior kid,
atmosphere.
it's wild, right?
Yeah, it is. You know,
Great shirts, guys. Great
on a
shirts.
regular Friday night, there'd be 1,000 people there, and then in playoffs, it'd be sold out in playoffs many, many times.
Yeah.
I actually never thought looking at you two would turn me on, but you guys are wearing 2 L's with Hockey Tales shirts. Oh boy. So you played 2 years for Stratford, but I was curious then, how do you get recruited to D1? Because back even when Yantzi and I were getting recruited, we were just getting the pamphlets in the mail. We didn't actually know what was going on, right? The internet was just starting, not to age us too much, Yantzi, but like, we didn't really know what was going on with these schools, right? We didn't go on the internet and research everything about them and see all these videos. No,
yeah, I didn't know any of that stuff either. I'd tried out for the Toronto Junior 8, Marley's a Junior 8 team at the time, and then didn't make that team, and then I got invited to Stratford's camp by the Flanagan family, that name is synonymous with hockey in Stratford, and I made the team, and then there was a pipeline of players at that time going to New Hampshire, starting with even before Terry Flanagan. There was a couple guys before that.
So I got a question about that. Is Terry Flanagan, was he the coach of?
No, Denny Flanagan was the general manager.
Okay.
And I played with Terry in New Hampshire. Has since passed on, but then Dennis Flanagan played at Northern Michigan. And then him and I came back in the mid 80s and coached together with the Cullitons, with Denny Flanagan as the general manager.
Okay, I remember a Flanagan being around when Yantzi and I, right, were around.
He was the coach.
That was Dennis. That was a little older than I was. Yeah.
So he was there was a Flanagan coach. I didn't know if that was the guy in New Hampshire with you, but I did see he had passed. That's too bad.
They're brothers. They're brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
He actually coached in Bowling Green then.
It's interesting how everybody like knows someone in hockey, and that's how people get places, right? It's like, how does New Hampshire find out about Ross Yantzi in Stratford, right?
Yeah, that was because the pipeline was started already heading down that way.
Right.
So
it's awesome. So then when you get recruited there, how do you know anything about it, or you're just like, you went with someone? Hold on, I got it here. Research team was hot. Frank Barth, also from Stratford.
Yeah, Frank was a year ahead of me. Him and I played together 1 year in Stratford, and then he went ahead of me to New Hampshire. And then Dan McPherson and I played together in Stratford for 2 years, and we both went down together. Then the next year, Danny Forget came down, and then the year after that, 2 other guys from Stratford came down, Ken Chisholm and Paul Barton. So we had quite a pipeline going down there.
You guys were getting full rides.
Full rides, yep.
Well, that's awesome. Were other junior B players getting them? Like, did Elmira have a team? Were they getting any? Was anybody getting any?
Yeah, junior B was more heavily recruited at that time than what it is now, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was curious how you ended up there, but I did see there's some Stratford ties to it. The research team.
There's a bunch of guys there, yeah, that went to those.
Okay.
Their dynamic with their 4 is very like Chiz and 4G and Barney and Dad. It's like you and Stretch and Daryl and me. Like those 4. Like I remember as a kid going. I went with them when I was a teenager down to their alumni golf weekends and stuff, and like their dynamic is very much our dynamic.
Well, it's interesting when you start talking around. There's a lot of teams and there's a lot of people doing the same stuff we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just a different decade.
Each other in junior. We just knew each other from junior.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like, when you look at a lot of rosters, as the research team may do, is NCAA teams. When Ross was going, a lot of Canadians on the team. When we went, quite a few Canadians. Nowadays, you look at a roster, there's maybe 1 or 2. They're Americans, man, and they're good.
They're doing good, yeah.
Yeah, well, the game's growing in the U.S. I think is probably more of a reflection there is that there's that many more players in the U.S. The Canadian kids are staying put and playing in the CHL maybe.
Oh yeah, well, there's more of them and they're good and they got the training, the facilities. Pretty wild. Yeah. Sorry for burping the mic, folks. Okay. Yeah, we talked a bit about your career, but you know what? You guys both played for the Cullitons. So how'd you start with the Cullitons, Rito?
Well, I probably started as a fan of the Cullitons, like anyone that grew up. Cullitons Nation, let's call it, is similar to Leafs Nation. Like if you live
King Nation back in my day.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
With any other junior town, but Stratford was the closest junior team to me as a kid, and dad coached. So I watched. Me and mom sat up.
How old were you when he was coaching? Navigating Lieutenant, Bayfield Brewing Company.
I like your last stint when I was a kid was in early 90s.
Yeah, my last, it would have been 89, 90s when we won the championship, and then I retired.
89, 90, math brains
yeah,
hot. You're about 6 years old, Reid.
Yeah. Right. So 5 or 6 are some of my first earliest memories are me and my mom sitting up in the top corner.
I would take you in the room too, Reid.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'd come out to practice. Yeah. I'd come out to practices and skate around and training camp and stuff. And it was the greatest. So I dreamed my whole hockey career of playing for the Cullitons. It was like the one thing I knew I wanted. It was like before I wanted to play in the NHL, I wanted to play for the Cullitons. So I mean, when I was 14, when I was 14, I got the invite that a lot of other players get to their rookie camp, whatever. And I was so pumped and I went and got invited to main camp. And I was so excited. I got cut. Obviously, I was 14 years old. But, to get to go to main camp. And then the next year I made the team. And it was like, maybe in hindsight, probably should have played Bantam that year. But I mean, it was my lifelong dream was to play for the Cullitons. And it was being realized. Like, I have no regrets over playing there at 15, but
you probably could have developed more as a young buck playing minor hockey.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have been a 5th or 6th or 7th defenseman on a junior team. I should have been the 1st or 2nd defenseman on my AAA team, probably. But I was 5'11", 190 pounds already. So I mean, wasn't like I was outmatched or out, anything.
That fire behind you is mesmerizing. My gosh. Holy moly. I don't even know what I was trying to talk to you and stay awake at the same time.
Firewall. I don't see
holy crap. That was wild. I was like, I don't know if I'm falling asleep or what's happening. So Roscoe, when he's trying, like, obviously I remember it, I guess, when I was making the Shirt Kings, and it was kind of like when you make it, you made it. As a dad, do you ever give any advice, or like, when do you get involved in his decision making?
Well, I watched up in the stands more as a coach than as a dad to see if he was out of place or not. Yeah. And he didn't look out of place, as a 15-year-old.
I remember him being ready when he played.
Yeah, he didn't look out of place, and he was strong enough. He was physically strong enough. So it's just a matter of, getting.
It's interesting when it's time to move up and challenge yourself, or when it's still time to develop and play more, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for you, Reid, maybe should have waited a year before you went to Western Michigan, because you went there as an 18-year-old, right? Instead of a 19-year-old as some guys.
And Stretch said the same thing. Stretch said he went too early too.
Yeah. But when you get that offer,
you take it.
Yeah, you take it. Yeah.
Right. It was the same thing with the similar situation for me, for sure. Like at 15, like you make a junior team, are you going to say no thanks? I'd rather play Bantam. No, you get a D1 scholarship offer from a legitimate, at the time, top 15 team in the nation. You're not saying, oh, you know what, coach, thanks a lot. I think I should develop in junior.
Yeah, no, I better stay back for the Cullitons. I don't think I'll play there.
Coach? Like, come on, let's go. That's what I wanted.
Actually, I guess
Especially after you turn down chances to go to the O. Like I obviously, like most guys that get Scullies, had a chance to play in the OHL, and the team that drafted me wanted me to play, and I just
who was
basically
that?
Windsor.
You
So,
know,
like,
Reid, right after you talked about it in your podcast that the Stretch and Daryl and you guys were on, right after you accepted the scholarship, Windsor called and wanted you to come and play in the playoffs for them.
No, I know. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that whole year leading up, like the year before I was even eligible to play. I remember the GM came to my house with like a Christmas, a code or something at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Like
Still in the basement.
everyone got that kind of. Does everyone get a meet from the GM? Like, I don't know.
No, they don't. No,
No,
they
right?
definitely
So the
don't.
GM came to my house to like convince me to come play.
Oh, and when
I'd
teams
rather-
really show you how much they care, then like it makes you want to go there more. So then I remember like Brampton, they were like, yeah, make your own decision. You're like, you're on the team or whatever, but you're kind of like on the edge. And they were very honest. I was Stan Butler, former Shed guy. But what was I going with is how did you decide though? Like, you're not going to go do that. I remember Brampton then called me, but I had already committed to Western Michigan. They did call and say like, we want you to come. And I'm like, well, I got my scholarship. I did it. So I'm fine now. How did you decide? Like, did you already commit to Western before you?
No, it was actually, it would have been, so after I got drafted, I got,
how high are you getting drafted?
It was not, I didn't get drafted until the 15th round. So it was a super late pick.
The GM showing up at your house?
Yeah. So the
in
whole,
the 15th round?
It was more that they thought I was playing college.
Because your dad did.
And I was playing in Stratford, where typically they were more college driven. They were getting a lot of Scullies every year. And dad did. So I think Dennis was probably telling scouts that I wanted the college route.
As soon as you start telling people that, right? Yeah.
Then you start, your stock starts to go down. Because I don't know what those rankings are, but I was not the top ranking, but the next ranking, whatever the next one's down. It was like double A or whatever.
Yeah.
I wasn't the top rank, but I was ranked where players getting drafted in the top,
So you're the year after me. You're in 84. I was that year where they switched to like a band draft. I was the very last pick, but I was only 8th round. There was only 8 rounds that one year, and I was the very last pick of the draft. But then that next year, there's like 2 ages together, right? So now it makes sense you're a later.
It was
pick.
more, So 20 something rounds that year. But anyways, so ended up getting a concussion in a preseason game with the Cullies that year. Like the day I was going to go the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
Got a concussion. So I didn't go down to camp because I wouldn't have been able to do anything. I had a concussion. So that was that year. That was my draft year. So then the next year, that Christmas is when they came to visit me. And then, so over that.
And you're playing junior B at that time?
I was playing junior B. It was my second year B. And that summer, I basically got the feeling from them that, I was on a team. Like, it wasn't like if you're coming down for training camp for tryouts, it was like I was coming down to like move into the billet house I was going to live in, sort of thing, is the feeling I had. Like, that's what I felt. If I went to Windsor for training camp, I was going to be a Windsor Spitfire. I wasn't going down to like get a feel for how things go and, do this and do that.
That's funny, because when I went to Brampton, I thought I was going for like a feel of how things were. And like, I was like just checking it out and then head back to Elmira. And then the Billets were like, no, like when I got there, they're like, no, they told us you're on the team, like you're moving in. And I'm like, no, I'm just here to check it out.
And then, so I made my decision like the day, like a couple days before we were going to leave to go down to Windsor for me to like move to fucking Windsor, basically, in my mind. And I'm like, you know what?
Did you feel ready? Did you feel ready to move away from home at that age?
I mean, maybe that's ultimately why I chose to stay, but I don't know that it wasn't that I didn't feel ready. I just, maybe it was that I seen my buddies that had gone the OHL route, not having great times with it.
Yeah.
4th line, not even fourth lining it out of the lineup, getting sent down to
Well,
tier two.
if you weren't one of those like the big shots, right? Like I know
Yeah.
my age, there's like Derek Roy and Spezza and those guys, and like they were highly touted. If you weren't one of them and you knew the guys, they didn't look like they're having much fun in the OHL. Getting traded, different cities, right? Traveling all over on buses, and it's like, that doesn't look like much fun. I'll play in Elmira with my buddies and see if I get a scholarship.
Yeah. Guys that said, this guy, the only reason I'm not playing is because the guy playing in front of me was their third round pick. And, I'm the sixth round pick and the scouts don't want to look bad, or, lots of politics too. But I mean, there's
that happens everywhere.
So there was lots of reasons why, but ultimately I wanted to go the college route is what I decided. I'm in
Roscoe. How do you end up in New Hampshire though? There had to have been the OHL shit, or what was it called back then? OHL or
well,
OHA?
It wasn't. I was never drafted. It wasn't. I don't think it was called the OHL. It was the Junior A League. Like they had the Junior A League, then they had the Tier 2 Junior A League that Guelph played in at that time. So then like I said, I got invited to the Toronto Marlboros camp, which was Junior A. So the guys that were in camp when I was there was Bruce Boudreau, who's coaching Vancouver, and John Anderson was a big name guy that was there in camp when I was there. They were on the team, so I was trying to make the team. They were the studs of the team.
Yeah, they were on it.
Didn't make it, but then when New Hampshire, the Flanagans just hooked me up with New Hampshire. I went there for a visit. I was recruited by the University of Michigan as well. I went there for a visit.
Is that right? That's a cool arena.
Yeah, that's it was cool there. Yeah, me and Dan McPherson went down there for a weekend visit on the train, but just kind of decided to stay with to go to New Hampshire because there was a bunch of teammates that I knew were already there, and other teammates.
That would make things way easier going somewhere you already know people for sure.
Yeah,
especially when you're crossing borders. That's another thing. I totally almost forgot about this, and things crossed my mind while you guys are talking. But when we're talking about getting a scholarship and like turning it down, Northeastern offered me to go as a true freshman. So I'd be going the year before Western Michigan when I'm like 17, turning 18 in November. And it wasn't a full scholarship. I don't know, like their school was like too expensive or something. They said only one player on their team got a full ride. I didn't buy it, but either way, if they would have made that a full ride, it's hard to turn down. But the coach of that team, research team found it, was on University of New Hampshire with you. Also got a participation medal. Bruce Crowder.
Yeah, Bruce Crowder. Yeah, he was a senior when I was a freshman. He's from Essex.
See, that's what's interesting about like the small town is that's who was recruiting me and trying to get me to go to Northeastern as a guy you went to school with, all right?
Yeah.
I found it interesting though. I went down there for like a recruiting trip and like I never got any FaceTime with the coach. And it's like you talk about, it's like, how much do you want me? I went to Western Michigan. I thought the coaches were going to service my mother under the table.
Well, Clay and Jim was doing that, wasn't he?
Well, you could tell they wanted me. That's all I'm saying, right?
It's nice to feel wanted.
It's nice to feel wanted. Even my mother and father felt wanted, right? But when we go to Northeastern, it's like your parents weren't even invited to come see the place. They want you to go as on your own, which makes sense. You going to be a big boy.
My parents never went either to see the school. That was all on my own. That different time though in the 70s.
Maybe I was a mummy's boy back when I was 17, eh?
Maybe.
I think my parents were just curious to see what was going on and wanted to see the school. But I remember going downtown Boston. I was like, jeepers, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, coming from Elmira, it would have been a shock to the body for you to go there.
It really was. There was like trains and stuff going through the city or whatever they're called. Yeah, it was nuts. There's people everywhere.
Boston's one of my favorite cities. I've been in that city a lot, so I love because we're only an hour north of New Hampshire. So
where is New Hampshire? That's it.
Well, it was in Durham. It was in Durham, New Hampshire. So it's about an hour north up Interstate 95. Just
See, it's wherever people live, they know what it's like around there. I've never been out there. I don't know anything about it.
East Coast is great. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. And how big's that town?
Well, the town of Durham was pretty small, actually. There was only
Kind of like
10,000.
Kalamazoo, like it's like a college town.
Oh, way smaller.
Way smaller. Yep. It was like Elmira.
Yeah.
Is that right? And are they still good at hockey? They used to always be good.
They were always good. They've taken a bit of a back seat in the Hockey East lately, but
I always find it interesting because like Western Michigan, Rito, where we went, I always thought that place had everything you ever needed to be a powerhouse. When I went there, I felt like it just made sense, right? It just felt like a great place to play. Then you get the Lost and Lunatics going, and I see them play the other schools, and you get the band playing, you get the drunk students on one side. It was mayhem.
Yeah, it was great. It's one of those things where you couldn't imagine why would anyone want to play anywhere else.
Yeah, and then by the time we left, we didn't even really like hockey very much.
Guys going now love hockey when they leave because
the Western Michigan is ranked in the top 5 of the country right now, right?
No, yeah,
and it's they always had everything you needed to be good, right?
Yeah. And New Hampshire is not in the top 20 right now.
Right, and maybe it's a small town like Elmira.
No maple syrup.
What was the barn like? What's the New Hampshire arena like?
It's a brand new barn now.
Aren't they all? Everybody's got new rinks.
Probably 20 years old, but we had a big ice surface. I think it's seated, I'm going to say 3,000, maybe something like that. And when we were winning, it was sold out all the time. So my freshman year, my senior year, we were winning, went to the Final Four of both those years, and it was sold out all the time. We'd be walking to the rink to get for pregame, just walking to the rink. There'd already be lineups of students, like what you guys were talking about the other night there too, right? So that would happen, especially when you're winning, for sure.
I remember like when there were times when we were at Western Michigan, I guess it was always till about Christmas, right? We were always good. We were always doing really well at the start of seasons or whatever. And there'd be times you're playing Michigan State and there's fans wrapped around the building, and it just makes hockey so much fun, right? And then
it was when we would take like an extra lap around the rink, just because you'd be driving up the road and you'd be like, wow, look at the lineup. You'd have to go check it out, right? So we drive a lap around the arena just to see how big the line was.
Well, it would make your heart like start racing, and you're showing up to the rink like, I'm so ready to play. Yeah. Like I love hockey and I can't wait to play.
Yeah. It was fun.
Play a game.
It's like same in junior B when the Cullitons were playing the Shirt Kings. Didn't matter if it was in the old Elmira arena or the Cullitons arena. Like you show up and there's a lineup around the door. She's go time.
Yeah, but in Elmira, you could go in there at 5:00 and lay your blanket down, and nobody would take that spot.
Well, nice people, but that is a bit of bogus. That's a bit of a horse manure, eh? Just put your blanket down at 5:00, and that's my spot. Sorry, reserved it.
Go back and have dinner, and then come back for the 7:00 game.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. You know what it's like? It's like putting your towel down at the all-inclusive resorts. On the chairs on the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one can take that seat.
Sorry, folks. I got up, hung over at 7. I put my towel down on this chair at 7 a.m. You can't have this chair the rest of the day. It doesn't matter if I'm here or not.
That's right. Yeah.
My chair.
But you're right. Elmira owned that rink, and I remember you'd let some parents in, and you'd be like, "Here, go put your blanket down. Like, get out of here."
Come back and pay.
The first time I played a game in Elmira in the old barn, it was like we show up for the bus, drops us off, right? And you're loading this stuff, and you're kind of taping your stick or whatever, and you're standing around. I'm like, man, this place is tiny. And then you're looking around, and I'm like, why is there blankets everywhere? That's everyone. That's everyone saving their seats. And sure enough, you see them trickling in, picking up their blanket. They left the blankets there because it was minus 30 in the arena. sit on too.
It was quite the barn. But that's why I always like playing in smaller ice. And you get used to playing smaller ice. Then you get the big ice. Man, that's a lot of skating.
That's a lot of skating, yeah.
So Ross, I've never seen you play hockey before, eh? But I've hung out with you a lot. I give people player reviews on here, but I don't know if I'm ready yet. I give people player reviews based on how they pod and talk to me.
Oh, is that right? Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
I need to know. I need to hear this.
Yantzi would know where this all originated from. This was our senior trip. Sean Weaver, may you rest in peace. Do you remember that around the fire?
Yeah. He broke down everybody based off of how they played hockey. Yeah, no, I remember.
But he had never seen us play hockey.
No, he knew exactly how every one of us played, though.
Yeah, he did. And he went around the room or the fire and labeled everybody. And from that day on, everybody I met, and like you talk to them and you get to know them, and you're like, huh, they play like their personality. Huh. So do you want it now, Ross? I don't know if I'm ready. I think I should wait a bit. Maybe one more beer.
Whenever you're ready. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Okay, I'll just do it. I think I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do it. Hold on.
All right.
Ready?
Take
Cabinet
a-
maker, Bayfield Brewing Company. Okay, I've never seen you play. Let me know if I'm on track here. Okay.
Well, Reid can let you know.
Yeah, I'll give you the your
What do you
names.
mean? You were done in '82.
We-
He's not
we
born
play
till
every
'84. He
We
doesn't
play
know.
every
He
Thursday
doesn't-
night.
I've been
Now we've
been
been-
watching him play hockey since I can remember.
Yeah,
Senior,
my kids,
old timers.
my kids' memory of me playing hockey was playing for the Ripley Wolves. So
Yeah,
I don't.
same way.
On one leg.
Yeah, that's a fat so. So I don't know. Okay. Here we go. You're gonna stretch for these. Okay. No, hold on. I'm ready. So, anyways, just poured my cabinet maker from the Bayfield Brewing Company. You guys don't live far from them. But anyways, Ross, I would say you were a good skater, but you're a strong little bugger. You could hit, and you could battle in the corners, and but you would still be on the power play. You'd get some points, maybe second unit. If your team's good, you're on the second unit. But you hit hard for a little guy, skated well, and stop giving me thumbs up.
Well, I
trying
was
to
just
focus.
confirming your fucking theory.
I'm trying to get in the groove here, man. You're
Okay,
giving me
sorry.
thumbs up. Good gosh. But you're also like a team guy, and that's why I love you so much, is that teams need to be teams. That it's not just the players on the team, it's the parents. You show up at the U Club, you're always involved. It's because hockey makes families, and you understand what it takes to win and get participation medals in college, is that it takes everybody. It takes the whole crew. It takes the parents. It takes people being happy playing hockey to win. And you were always trying to do that. And I know you wanted us to be better at Western Michigan, but you're just a team guy that you're still second unit, mainly offensive, but can hit harder than you would think for a little defenseman.
Yeah, I don't think you're too far off there, Wally.
I got sidetracked. Fucking Yantzi was giving me
Fuck,
thumbs.
well, I was trying to let you know that you were on the right track.
Yeah, then I should have just shut my eyes and went with
You
it.
know what? One time,
Once I started looking and I saw your thumb going up and down like you're in the closet at the U Club, I was done.
I remember one time watching a no bump league game in Woodstock. This would have been, I was probably 12 or something, too young to be, whatever. Anyways, there's this one guy on the other team, this big dummy skating around, being an idiot all game. And he goes into dad had the puck on the wall, and he came and he kind of rubbed him out a little hard, and dad whacked him one as he skated off. And he was fed up with this asshole all game. And this guy had probably had 8 inches, 10 inches on him, and 50 pounds. And dad speed bagged this guy. And it was the greatest thing ever. It was a no bump, no contact game. And he beat the pants off of this young kid that was skating around like an idiot all game, because the whole team he was maybe the youngest guy in his old timers team, but still beat this guy up because everyone on the team was sick of this guy's shit all game.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like you don't take no horse shit.
Yeah.
And that's why you've ran a successful business for so long, is because like you're a leader and you're a guy that keeps everybody in check. And that's the people play hockey like their personalities. And that's why when a guy's being a punk, you're like, that shit doesn't happen on my ice.
Does not on his watch.
No, that's horse shit.
No, I wasn't much of a fighter in junior. I fought twice. In junior B, I fought twice. The same guy, the same game. We came out of the box and we fought the second time. So that was my 2 fights in.
You only fought twice
in junior, and then I fought a few times in senior, and then a few times in old timers hockey, just because guys were getting stupid and it was ridiculous.
Old timers ones
old timers hockey.
Those are the ones that it's like, okay, someone's gonna have to fight this guy, guys, and I guess it's me. I guess.
But oh God, I played old timers when I first moved to Culliton. Like I'd go out and like I wanted to meet people because I didn't know anybody in town, but like I didn't really want to play hockey. But I would go, I'd play, and then it was awful. It was the worst experience of my life. But if I tried, the other team hated me. And if I didn't try, my team would be like, what are you doing? But then if you did a move and you went around someone, they would take it personal or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're getting hacked and you're like,
oh yeah,
what am I doing out here? Why am I getting hacked playing hockey? I don't even want to do this. I just wanted to have beers with guys I didn't know.
Yeah.
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 But I had to get through the game to get to that point.
Yeah. You dealt with the game to get to the beers.
And then I realized I just got to go to my fucking shed.
Skip the game altogether.
Nobody can slash me out here. Nobody can hit me out here.
It's like in the dressing room, right? Having beers in the dressing room after the game.
And that's
the shed is like that.
That's all. That's everything I wanted to do in hockey, and that's all I have to do now. Right?
Perfect.
God, sometimes it's fun, you know? Okay. Random questions then, because I got just random notes for when having both you on. One player you played with at University of New Hampshire. I think I know the name, and I think it's from the movie Miracle on Ice. Research team was hot. Is it Ralph Cox? Was he on that movie?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
Is he the guy that gets cut?
He was the guy that got cut at the end.
And he
just
was your buddy?
Just before they took the team. So Neil Broughton, Herb Brooks was the coach, as everybody knows, right? And
yeah.
But Ralphie Cox was a senior when I was a freshman, and when I was a freshman, I was on the power play, and him and I were on the point, and I would get the puck and I would pass it to him, and he would score, and I would get a point.
Perfect.
His numbers were outrageous. He was a D-man?
He's a forward, but he might still hold the highest scoring record in New England hockey.
Yeah.
He was that good. It wasn't a great skater, but I would see him in the corner, 2 or 3 guys would be in the corner on him, and all of a sudden he's past those 2 or 3 guys, going in the net, putting the puck in the net. He was just magical with the puck.
And he was the guy. So when I'm thinking about the movie, he's the guy at the very last second. They just do their big team thing and the football fight outside. And then he gets called in and he's like, I hate to do this, but you're gassed.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's the guy.
And you knew him.
Yep,
Cool.
played with him. Yep. He's a good
Cool.
guy.
Yeah, that sucks that happened for him. Sorry,
Yeah.
Coxie. You know? All right. So what else do we got? Okay. Favorite Western Michigan memory, whatever you want to say right now. We'll start with Reid.
Wow.
Like I'm not talking. Let's
really
go off ice. Let's go off ice first. Let's go off. On ice is maybe an easier question. Why don't we do on ice? Do you have an on ice best memory?
My best memory?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, there's a lot of those too. Like like we don't have a lot of triumphant moments really for a memory, for like a best memory that way. Like,
I mean,
probably
no,
my most infamous memory might be the miracle minute that we suffered, that defeat we suffered. That's a fairly memorable because I was on the ice for one of those goals against.
Which one was that? No,
the miracle minute in Miami. We were up like 2 goals with like a minute and a half left and ended up losing in regulation. Remember that?
Is that what they called it? Miracle.
They called it the miracle minute. And yeah, but yeah, that I mean, that's something that was pretty memorable. Probably another memorable one was when Pat Dwyer and Cookie fought. That was memorable. 2 roommates going toe to toe on the ice and absolutely filling each other's faces with punches.
But then you also fought Vince Bellissimo in a practice.
Yeah, no, that was
I fought Josh Ackright as a freshman, and he was a senior that was 6'4". He slew foots me. So this is what I don't get, right? Like I coach U11s now, and shout out to my boys. They just got their new shirts, and we got playoffs starting tomorrow night in Keedy, Ontario, one of the best barns in the world. It's a barn. And have you guys been to that rink?
Keedy,
Didn't
Ontario.
know there was such a place.
It is quite the rink. If you thought Stratford or Elmira was small, this is something else. This is like that back arena in Ferris yachts.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I talking about? I got sidetracked because I started talking about my kids, and I can't wait to play tomorrow or coach.
I think you're on the Reid's memories in Western Michigan.
Cookie fighting. We were talking about
the fighting. So you fought Bellissimo, I fight Ackright, but like in a practice, right? You're doing a drill. Ackright legit like slew foot me. We're doing a 1-on-1 drill or whatever, and I beat him, and I'm going past him, so he legit slew foots me. And like as a coach, you'd think you'd blow that down and be like, listen, guys, like we don't need guys getting hurt out here. Like we're a team. Like let's be a team. Instead, I felt like I had to fight him to be like, well, I'm not taking that shit from you, and I need to prove myself out here. And then I'm fighting a guy that literally could have beat the shit out of me if he wanted to.
Probably,
yeah, and he didn't. He was a nice guy about it, but like the slew foot could have really hurt me too.
Yeah. Well, we did a lot of things that could hurt each other in practice. That was the problem with practicing so freaking hard.
Man, some of those, like, do you remember there was a drill where there'd be 3-on-2 in front of the net, 3 forwards, 2 D, and the D like didn't have blades on their stick or whatever, and they would
turn upside down. And then Brooksy would fire clappers from the point into the crowd. I remember.
But like it was full war.
Yeah.
And if you weren't trying to kill each other, you were like not in it. It was like
as the 2 defenders, we were forbidden to play the puck. If the puck was
when did you start speaking German?
Well, that's the word, isn't it? We were
verboten is forbidden. Yes, you are right.
Not allowed to
I can speak German.
I could shoot the puck with the knob of my stick. Like I had enough skill to shoot the puck with the knob of my stick. But if I did that, Jim would say, you shouldn't be looking at the puck. Look at his chest and you can't cross check with your stick on the ice.
No,
basically.
The only thing that like I'm an advocate of stick on puck in hockey. It's as a skilled guy, when there's a stick in your way, when you're trying to pass it to someone, if there's a stick in between you and the other guy, you got to like sauce it. You got to stick handle around it. But if you are skating full speed with your stick in the air, just trying to kill people, the guy can take the hit and still make the play and still make it tape to tape pass. Food for thought.
Yeah. Stick on puck is the 2000 version or the 2020 version, 2010 version for sure.
Yeah. It was the 2000 version. You're just playing with the 1996 version.
No, I just, man, those battles we used to go through, like we would leave practice more injured than playing games.
More tired. I would look forward to the games. It was like a break.
We really excelled at napping after those practices because they were exhausting.
You especially excelled at napping. You're the best napper I've ever met, by the way.
You think I'm the best napper?
You're the best snapper, by far the best snapper.
What do you mean by best?
Like you needed, okay, for example, it was 5 minutes before we had to go to practice. Like we were going to leave at, let's just throw a number, 1:30, we were going to leave for practice. That's when we were going to walk out the door, get in the car and go to practice. At 1:23, Wally would announce from the couch, you know what, I'm going to have a quick nap. And he'd get up, walk to his room, he'd strip completely naked. He would set his alarm for 4 minutes later. He would have a 3.5 minute nap, and he'd wake up and he'd get dressed and he'd walk as we were standing up and right into the car to practice. And he did this like
that's called a drooler. That's called a drooler. That's called a drooler.
Sometimes you did it 10 times a day. I'm going to have a quick nap. And sometimes it was 4 minutes. Sometimes it was 7. Once in a while, you'd mix in like a 10 or 15 minute nap.
I couldn't believe, well, like I could do the full thing if I had the opportunity,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the opportunity.
5 minutes to kill.
You didn't have the opportunity. So am I going to sit around, talk to you like I'm negative, or am I going to go have a drooler and be ready to rock?
Yeah. So I mean, you're the best. You
know what? I'm still fantastic at it. You guys have no idea.
No, I have a fantastic idea of how good you are.
Actually, I think
like 4 years experience of nothing.
I think at our adult sleepover when we decided to play NHL 22 late night, I think I might have had one that night.
You were sleeping in between shifts during the games.
And I think I still beat you.
You're like, oh, he's got the puck. I'll have a nap until my guy has it again. Yeah, you did. You beat me through. I couldn't figure out how to pass. I kept.
Did I actually beat you? I thought I fell asleep in the middle of the game.
Yeah, but the time ran out. I was shooting on nobody for a while. I think you were up too many for me to come back.
That's just talent, folks. Oh shit. So what was college like with no internet, Ross?
Well, no internet, no cell phones. Yeah, that was,
as you could tell, the research team was hot today. I got a lot of great questions.
Yeah, well, we had a phone, and there was one phone at the end of our dorm that half the dorm used on the bottom floor, and there was a phone at the other end of the dorm that the other half the dorm used on the bottom floor.
There's one phone for all the kids to like
call
home
in the hallway. Yeah, to call home. Yeah.
So it's like Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, I never saw that movie, but
you never saw Revenge of the Nerds?
Was that a series? No, really, I didn't.
That's like the classic. That's like a classic.
We never had TVs either.
Holy fuck! How old are you?
No, but we certainly, yeah, it was different. I'd call Rose once a week on the phone.
Oh, so you already had her. You already had her when you went there.
Well, my freshman and sophomore year.
Okay, let's go. We haven't had a love story in a while.
Oh.
How did you and Rose meet?
Well, we met in high school, and then
and she let you go to University of New Hampshire, but she said get back right away.
Went to university for the first 2 years, and then we got married after my second year, and she moved down there for a year. And
say what now?
We were married after my sophomore year.
Why?
Wally, they weren't even the only ones on the team married, though. That's the best.
Oh
part.
No, we had 3 or 4 guys.
I thought people were getting married quicker now. You're telling me you? Well, I guess that you're. Oh, it was our.
They lived in like the family. The family dorms is where they lived.
We lived in the married students apartments my last 2 years, and our daughter Ralston was born there.
In university?
Yeah. We probably had 4 guys in the team.
So no wonder you wanted to live it up at the U Club.
I missed a couple of years.
Yeah, you're being a big bitch.
We probably had 3 or 4 guys in the team that were married, and at least 2 guys that had kids, 2 or 3 guys that had kids in the team.
In college,
yeah.
Yeah, man, that was what people did back then, Wally. They got married at 19, 18, and they had kids by 22, like 21.
Like Trojan wasn't a real company back then.
Right. Yeah, no, you guys were just playing the game.
Yeah, like there's people in college, and we were there with kids, Wally. It's just They weren't playing most of
Yes,
them.
they weren't on the varsity teams.
Well, Trojan really saved some lives, or not save some lives, but change things, right?
Yeah, it saves some lives being created.
The night that Rosalyn was born, she was born in New Hampshire. That morning, I was supposed to be getting on a bus.
You're a senior in college when your daughter's being born?
I was a senior. Yep.
You
I
didn't
was
do
supposed
that
to be getting
junior
on the
year, right?
bus. We're taking the bus to Boston, flying to Cornell. I had missed it, and I never even called the coach because there was no phones to call. So he just assumed that
Well, he would have known that your wife is pregnant in college.
Oh yeah, I would have known that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But that's crazy. So like you just didn't show up for the bus, and like there's back then there was like you couldn't even call anywhere to be like, hey, where are you? It was just
Well,
like
my teammate upstairs, he was married too, no kids, but he went to the game. So I forget if I told him. I probably never knocked on his door at 3 a.m. and said, "Hey, we're going to the hospital to have a baby." He just probably assumed that we were gone. And
this is in the family dorms.
This is in the marriage apartment dorms. Well, marriage apartments. So it was a 1-bedroom apartment, but it was all married couples there.
Different times, Wally. Different times.
The U Club was, like Daryl said, it was a one-time deal, right? Never gonna happen again.
No.
To have 4 guys that are from towns in Ontario, all like an hour from each other, to all end up being roommates at Western Michigan together, that doesn't happen.
No, especially not now that they're all Americans.
No, like if the research team sees it, like that will not happen again. Daryl's right. Like what the time we had was something else.
Well, when all the parents that went there, like it just wasn't us 3 or 4 guys, the parents that came back. It was all the other parents too. Some of the freshmen's parents came back there. Like it was the place to be.
Well, and that's where I gotta say, where it's like yourself and Rose and my parents and the Moors and the Stretches, like everybody was welcome. It was the same with us. Like we were a team. We were more of a team off the ice, and we were more of a hockey family off the ice than we were when we went to the rink.
Yeah.
And it's tough because like when like y'all love each other and y'all want to win so bad, and it just was tough times in the hockey world. But like we had so much fun at that U Club, man.
Made up for it.
We sure did. But we gave her every time we played. Like we played as hard as we possibly could, right? And we did everything asked of us. For all 4 years, they asked us to do our best at everything we did, and we did, right?
We did it. Sure. We drank hard and we skated hard and
I'm gonna bring this up. I don't care. Whatever. It's my shed. I can talk about whatever I want. You almost died.
Yeah.
And so as a dad, what are you thinking when you hear about these workouts and your son almost dies at university?
Well, we had 4.5 hours to think about it because we had to drive. The doctor said that there's a chance that he won't make it. So we're driving for 4.5 hours to try and get there as quick as we can to Kalamazoo Hospital. So it was something else for sure. Yeah. It
was something else.
Yeah.
And then after, I mean, whatever happened, but it was the day where we ran 5 miles or however far. I think I was injured that day and I couldn't run.
We did like an hour running the stairs in the stadium first.
And then we ran. And then we got to the finish line, and then they said turn around and do it again, right?
Did we have to do
no water?
I don't remember, but either way, I got through the end of all of it, and I remember everything but like
you crossed the finish line. You finished it just like we always did. Everything they put in front of us, we did. We smashed it. we did it, right? Even if it didn't make sense.
I just remember we were coming up over that bridge to like at the final end of the run. We were coming over the last stretch, and it was like the first time we did like a workout in college, like that was running and endurance, that I like stayed with the group. Like I was so pumped. You know what I mean? Usually like the 2 years before that, I was so far behind everyone. You know what I mean? I would have came in 5 minutes later. I was right with the pack and I was with the group. I was so pumped, and everyone starts sprinting to the end. And I just remember feeling like I was running like the speed of light. It felt like I was smoking. And they said I came around the corner, and I remember everyone zipped past me. That was the last thing I kind of remember, was thinking how fast I was running, and that everyone was running way faster than me. And then I was all by myself. And then that was the last thing I remember. And then they said I came around that corner, and I looked like I had clown shoes on, and I was like, arms were flailing.
You were,
hobbled to the last like 50 feet or whatever it was. Yeah. So that I don't remember any of that. The next thing I remember from everyone was running faster than me. And then from then on, it felt like a dream. I remember waking up from when they were giving me the defibrillators
so
like
you woke up while they were giving you the defibrillator.
It was, my heart was in AFib. So it was just like, it was beating. It just was beating irregularly. So they shocked her to like reset it twice in the ambo.
But that's when you woke up.
No, I just remember like, oh.
You remember that part? Like when they were doing it?
You know what I mean? It was like being in a completely dark room and someone flicking the lights
on.
So
I think what happened, like I actually do remember, but it was like we had done the stairs or whatever. So I had something wrong with me, but you guys went out for your run, and I came out to like be with you guys when you finished. And then I saw you like stumble across the line, and I was like, holy, like he doesn't look good. And it was wild day. And then,
I remember the next, I forget, it was a couple of days later after, and someone said it was the trainer Brian Bauer was like our physio trainer or whatever, and he was the guy who like came when I came around the corner and like collapsed. He was the first one there. And I remember that the runs were timed.
B was a beauty.
Remember how those runs that year, we timed every run, and you had to beat your time every consecutive run after that. It was the same run every time. And I remember, they told me that, I asked this after, but I finished the run and like collapsed, and I was laying on the ground and my face was gray. And I asked Brian Bauer, I said, what was my time? That was what I was concerned about.
Right. You were like dying. And
I was worried about what my time was for the fucking run, because I wanted to make sure I got a good time. It's like,
and then minutes later, they put the paddles on you.
Yeah. 5 minutes later, paddle my heart back.
And then after they do that, and they had to cut your shirt off, you hung it up in your room the rest of our senior year. You hung up the shirt they cut off you for the paddles, right?
Yeah, it stayed on the wall. The thing wasn't getting thrown out.
No. Oh, no, but it was
whatever happened to that tattered old shirt.
It's interesting, like when like you talk. Yeah, anyways, it was some of the workouts we did, it's like, it's weird because you know when you work out, or even when you bag skate, like there's times where like you get very lightheaded, right? And you're like, holy shit, like am I going down right now? Right? Yeah. It happens all the time when you're bag skating. I think maybe it's because I'm fat. I don't know. Happened all the time.
No. Fat guy problems that we had.
Yeah. I can't believe that actually happened though, that they did the paddles and that you're all okay. And like to think of that happening, like there was nobody even really found out, right? Except our team. We were the only ones that knew. And like Roscoe, so you're driving 4.5 hours, like wondering if it's my son okay, right?
Yeah. Well, we knew it was, if he was going to be okay or not for sure. And then by the time we got there, I think some things had settled down pretty good. And you had spent a few nights in the hospital. I forget exactly, Reid, the amount of time.
I spent a few days in the hospital, and so
Yeah.
there was a certain thing in my blood that would be better, and then they let me go. Yeah.
And they said they had to wait for some of the counts because the paddles made some of your counts go up.
How long? That was right at the start of the season. That was like our first workout of the year. So
that was
wasn't
the
it?
first workout. It was like September.
It was before hockey started. Yeah.
So then, did you miss games because of that, or was?
Yeah, I didn't play my first game until like November that year. That was our junior year, right? So I didn't play.
That was only the junior year.
That was our junior year. You'd have to look at Hockey DB, but I think I definitely played more games. Like I didn't play the full season. Like my senior year, I played every game, I think. But that year I maybe missed
the start
of the year, and then I was in and out of the lineup that year. Like I don't think well, maybe I wasn't in the lineup, but I definitely was not. I was maybe like a 5 or 6 guy that year. I don't remember. I didn't play as many games though as the next year and the year before.
Yeah, it's that was a day I think all of us will never forget. Anyways, it was something. Some of the workouts we did like that, like I mean, there's like the military mindset, right, of like pushing harder and harder and harder, and I think that's what they were going for. But like there were some times where it's like like the shin splints in our legs, and like we would be and if we would get put out the end of a season, it was like, well, if you guys get put out, we're gonna punish you. It's not like
extra work.
They punished the love of hockey away from us quite a bit by the end.
It was like old school. That's all that stuff's shouldn't happen anymore because the coaches are better trained, and you just can't do that anymore to kids.
Right.
Oh, and
Hazy Sunset Bayfield Brewing Company. We're all still alive and we're still kicking, and it's just another tail in the shed, right? We're all fine. We're not complaining, right?
You have to call this 6 ales and tails.
Yeah.
There's been different numbers. There's 0 ales, there's 37 ales. It's really whatever happens, right?
Depends on the night.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. So we haven't even talked about senior careers or anything like that, or coach and coop. Geez, I don't know. Are you guys tired? Ross, you're getting old, eh?
I'm pretty old. I'm usually in bed for half an hour by now, but I'll tough it out.
You're gonna tough it out, you know?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
All right, here we go then. So, what did we talk about some Western Michigan memories? Like, I think we talked about, well, we talked about some there, but
a lot of the memories, some of the best memories probably this is a family show still, right?
Yep.
Probably. Yeah. So yeah.
It's a family show.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna leave most of the
right. It's PG-13ish, or it's whatever you want it to be, really. It's when you come to the shed, you make it whatever episode you want it to be. I'm just here.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were the workouts like? I guess you kind of told us when you're at New Hampshire, the workouts are crazy too, because you're running 5 miles in 35 minutes.
Well, during the season, we didn't have any workouts. We would go to the rink, do our stuff, and then guys would work out on their own a little bit, do some lifting, but there's nothing organized that way. But in the off season, we had some organized dryland training.
And yeah,
but
we're working out during a season. That's something that like Western Michigan, like they made us do it, right? And then you get to pro, and like they were very forceful about it. And it's like, if you wanted to do it and you like doing it, maybe it'd be different. But when you're forced to do it, it's a little different. Because when I got to pro and nobody was forcing me to do it, I'm like, well, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really.
We
work
never
out when
had,
I got
we
to
never
pro.
had, during the season, we never had workouts.
Well, during season, I never did either. Maybe I was trying to play like it was the 80s.
Well, I mean, yeah, we had to go to the gym. I remember. I specifically, especially our senior year. I think we may have talked about this on the last one. Me and Stretch would. I don't think we lifted a single thing our senior year.
You guys called it making puppies, and
yeah, no, we did it. It was a good rotation we had because we were always workout buddies. And so one of us would be at the water fountain splashing water on our shirt. And the other one would be in the free weight section, like rearranging weights, basically. Once in a while, sitting on the bench, doing one of the workouts that they thought we were doing.
I don't know how you guys didn't thrive that last year.
Well, we did. That was my best offensive year. I didn't lift a single weight all year. It was my best year. I had 3 goals, I think, that year.
Oh, shit. Oh, God. Okay, what else do I got here? So you've coached your son though for a long time, eh? And when they came to the Silver Stick, this was like your first year where you're not doing it. So what's it been like? Did you like coaching the kids? What do we got to talk about here? Because I'm doing that shit.
Oh, I mean, I love coaching the kids. Yeah, I mean, I've been coaching his age group since novice, basically. You know, it's something I enjoy and something that I'll probably do with Lenny now. Like my daughter is now coming into, she'll be in whatever it's called now, U9 U9 next year. So I'll probably be helping with that. Like, it's great. It's nice this year now. Like my son's U15 now, so he's hitting and I'm not coaching this year, which is, again, it's
different.
It's kind of nice to be on the other side too, to be a parent and just kind of watch. And
well, we could be pretty relaxed in the stands and just watch the game, right?
Exactly. You were with me.
We talked about it, how different it is, right?
Yeah.
And instead of being behind the bench, being in control of everything, and like even before the game, after the game, it's a lot of work. Like you got to be into it, right?
Oh yeah, just to go to for me now, Coops hockey game. Let's say we're playing a game in Tabby. I got to drop him off an hour before the game, and then I show up at game time and I watch, and then I hang around until he's out. Where before, when I was coaching, I'm down at the rink an hour before the game. I'm in the room. I'm doing things. I'm preparing for the game or whatever.
Well, and then there's the practices during the week, right? Where whether you're co-coaches, whether you're the head coach, the assistant coach, like you gotta somehow talk to them to let them know what's up, because you got to get to practice and have a plan, right?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, exactly. So like for minor hockey coach, like an hour practice is, especially if your kid's on the team, that's 3 hours of work for 1 hour practice, right? Like you got an hour before and after.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Right. So yeah, you definitely have to love doing it. And I love doing it. It's nice to have a year to not do it, but also, am I starting to miss it now? Maybe a little. Right?
I could tell you watching the game. That ref had a tough game in the semis.
It's a pretty small window, so when you have the chance to do it, you need to take the time, volunteer, and do it, because pretty soon, Coop's 13. He's going to be out of. He could be out of it in 2 or 3 years.
Exactly.
And whether he plays junior or not, who knows? But still, then you got to follow Lenny, and then those years are gone.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how fast it happens. And that's why I'm so excited for tomorrow's playoff game. Is like my kid, Colby, it'd be minor Adam back in the day, but tomorrow will be his first playoff game of his life. He's never been on a real team because of all the baloney. And we've never really done this. And we're finally starting her out tomorrow,
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
That's exciting times. Like that's the stuff you'll remember in 10 years is like, oh, remember when they're in midget and stuff, right? It'll be like, oh yeah, remember that year when we did Wally's podcast and won the championship, like in Adam. That was great. Like when they're 25, they'll be shooting the shit about it.
But seriously, and then like what happens when your coach like makes the whole team shirts with their names and numbers on the back that say
that's That's the stuff that those kids remember too, right? Like
But that's the whole point of the shed, is like all the fun shit about hockey is what I remember and what I want to remember. And there's a lot of negative shit, right? There's a lot of shit you go through. There's a lot of tough times. There's a lot of downs. There's a lot of ups. I like talking about the fun shit, you know, and sometimes it's good to get shit off your chest too, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure. Yeah.
Because
There's a lot of great times for sure.
I literally feel much better after a year doing this, and like there's shit I had to get off my chest. I had to talk about it. And it's like coming out to my sheds, like I'm coming out to my mental health therapist.
Yep. Should be a couch there you can lay on.
Yeah. I don't need a couch. I just stand because I have so much energy.
Laying down.
How do you like I do crash and burn now that I have so much energy, and like I wake up and I'm like, let's rock. And like eventually I'm like, okay, brain needs to shut down. But like I have way more energy. It's like, remember in Yantzi at university when he needed a stick to change the channel because we didn't have remotes, right? And it's like, geez, when you're happy, you got a lot of energy.
Yeah, for sure.
I was saving my energy to have to fight you in practice, probably. That's what I was.
We'd be battling. You'd be giving me the whammy.
Yeah, it's only Tuesday. I got 3 more practices before a game on Friday. Jeez.
And you'd be whammy me, and I'd be trying to reverse hit you as hard as I could too.
Yeah. Breaking my wrist,
and then we would try and hurt each other, and then we head for lunch and see how much we could eat.
Yeah, see how full I can make my calf tray and make it back to the table.
I find it interesting how fat we got when we didn't even drink like at all. Like when we were in college, we hardly drank. We only drank when it was full green light. We would give her tits, right? Other than that, we didn't drink. We weren't having a beer on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It wasn't.
No, we never had a casual 3. No,
never had
that
casuals.
was something to learn how to do as an older age, though.
Maybe it was the soft ice cream machine that put the pounds on you.
That or the cheese sauce one.
The cheese sauce was devastating. That was the no. That cheese sauce machine single-handedly added 15 pounds to my body weight when I sprained my ankle. Remember that freshman year?
I have always found it interesting since you've left university how skinny you've been, because like that's when they made us work out.
Yeah, it made us. They forced us into doing all these things instead of letting us make our own fucking decision. Similar parallels to what's going on right now.
If you could just like make your own decisions and do what you want to do, like then you get to follow your passion. And then if you want to be a hockey player, you're probably going to work out and try and be really good, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were hockey players.
I mean, when the Cullitons and the Kings were playing each other, we were trying to be the best we could be. And you don't have to be forced to try and be the best you can be, right? You can just try and do that on your own.
Yeah, right.
Just thinking out loud in the shed again. Okay, I got one random story on my own, but Yantzi, we played senior. I can't say Yantzi because you're both Yantzis. You both played senior. I want the best senior story you got from playing or coaching, whatever. The best senior story you got, and I'll start with mine. Okay. So at the Ripley Arena, I'm fresh out of pro. I had coached one season, kind of partially a few games, but then the next year I'm like, honey, I'm getting so fat. I'm so disgusting. I have to have a reason to lose weight. I need a reason to get in shape, and I would like to try and play some games for the Ripley Wolves. They seem like great dudes. I want to play hockey with them. I want to help them try and be better. And I'm like, I'm going to go do this. And then the family heads to US Thanksgiving for a weekend. And, you know, I don't get many weekends to myself. And my old man comes up, episode 99, Ron Walton. And I've met a couple neighbors in town. Well, we get in one, full in one, right? I had never drank gin before. You know, things got carried away. So then the next day, we play a game against Petrolia.
Oh, I hate those Squires.
And this is where I'm going. So the game is going. I go out there for warm-up. Man, the Ripley Arena's small. Pucks are hitting the boards. I am so hungover from this gin. My head is killing me. And I cannot skate. I can't stick handle. I am in one still from the night before because I don't get many green lights, right? But anyways, sober up halfway through the game. Okay. So I'm feeling better. I get a little sweat on. We're losing. I end up doing really well. I score some goals, right? And the team wins. We win 5-4. And their captain loses their mind. He's the captain of the team, I guess, in hockey. That would mean your leader. Well, he gets
no, their captain was an idiot.
So he gets kicked out of the game. And in the Ripley Arena, there's the bench, and then there's two doors, really, by the bench. But this guy gets kicked out of the game, and there's a guy chirping him that used to play for the team that's just a spectator. He's just watching the game. This guy gets kicked out, the player. He comes around down the hallway, out another door, and then literally comes with skates on, full equipment, everything, and starts fighting the fan who used to be like this guy that's chirping him because they suck.
Goodacre. His last name is Goodacre.
He's the guy. So yeah. we're losing. We were losing like 4-1 or whatever. And then whatever happens, we got some goals in the third, right? And we're up 5-4, and then this guy gets kicked out, and he literally starts fighting our fans in the Ripley Arena in Senior A. And like, to think back on what was happening that night in the Ripley Arena is shocking.
Yeah, for sure. That's hockey in Canada, though.
Yeah, as I say, that sounds a lot like senior hockey.
Passionate folks, right?
Yeah, sure. Well,
you told me a great Petrolia Squire story from the past in Tavistock, right? Didn't they like trap you guys somewhere in the hallway?
Well,
I gotta piss. Keep going. I already know the story.
Well, which story am I telling, Wally? There's just some dead air. We'll just wait for him to get back, I guess.
Or pick the story you were going to pick. I don't have one.
I don't remember which story. I've got too many. I could have a whole 2-hour podcast on Senior A. I played for 10 years. I don't remember the story that I told him, though. If I told him the story about the Shelburne Muskies trapping us in the hallway with their one crazy drunk fan, or if I told him.
I remember that story too. Yeah, I was actually there in the hallway.
Yeah, that was in the playoffs. Or if it was the story about, all right, Wally, I don't remember did I tell you the story about the bench clearing brawl with Petrolia, or was it the getting trapped in the hallway against Shelburne? The hallway with Shelburne.
That's a different team. That wasn't.
No, that was Shelburne, and that wasn't even really their team. The hallway one. The hallway one's probably better than the bench clearing brawl one was pretty funny too, but the hallway one's probably more along the lines of what happened with your story. So there was, we played Shelburne I think this was the second year in a row we played them in the playoffs, and the year before we'd put them out. And so anyways, it's a game in Tavi, and they had specifically two fans that were involved in this altercation after the game, but it was the biggest man, I think, in Shelburne. This guy was like 6'5" or 6, like 300 pounds, a huge man. He had to duck under the beams in the hallway in the Tavi Arena for the 7 people.
Guy you don't want to mess with.
But anyways, yeah. So yeah, big, huge dude. And then his little scrawny buddy. His buddy was like, 5'3", 130 pounds. So, okay. So this is the dynamic. These two guys are in the Blue Line Club, and they're both crushing drinks like it's their last day on earth. They're drinking as many drinks as they could possibly drink. The big guy was drinking whiskey. The little guy was drinking beer, according to the
like you just got out of Lawson Ice Arena back in the day.
So anyways, we win the game. I forget even what the score was, but we win. Whatever. So it's after the game, and our coach is doing the post-game debrief in the room, telling us how great we are, and we're doing our little puck celebration. We have a little board. We used to have a board that every time you won, there was 4 wins per round, and we'd glue the puck on the board, and we'd all have a time and celebrate. So anyways, we're like in the middle of the lead up to gluing the puck, the anticipation room, everyone's all pumped up for this part, because after the win, then it's 2 points, and Royals, it was 2 points, 2 joints. So if you've got 2 points, you got 2 joints after inside. So we were pumped up for that too. Everything was having a great time. And this fucking drunk guy from Shelburne, this scrawny little guy, wanders into our dressing room. And so like our dressing room.
Like a player or a fan?
No, this was a fan, a Shelburne fan. So far from the Blue Line Club, it's the far opposite end of the arena as the Blue
and he
Line
comes
Club.
into your room. So he
strolls into our room like he owns the place and just like walks right in, middle of the post-game speech. And our coach just is like, man, what are you doing in here? Get out of here, right? And just like kind of shows him the door.
As he should.
Guy was wasted. Shows him the door. No big deal. Guy's drunk. He walks out. Nobody thinks anything of it, right? So the guy leaves. We do our post-game celly. Everything's great. 2 joints, 2 points, 2 joints. Everything's done. We're having beers in the room. Everyone's getting undressed. And now everyone's starting to kind of trickle out. We're going to head up to the Blue Line Club, have a couple beers.
Yeah.
And so the first couple guys are trickling out, and all of a sudden there's a congregation of guys down in the hallway. And all of a sudden this big, huge man that's ducking under the girders as he's walking down this long hallway towards us, we're like, someone yells, boys, get out here, like down the hallway towards our room. Cause this big man is like on a mission.
He's coming down like he's mad.
He had just gotten the whole Shelburne team. He stopped at their dressing room, riled them all up. So now they're behind him coming down the hallway towards us. We're talking 20 minutes after the game. Like most of the guys are undressed. We all meet right in the hallway. Like, you know what I mean? Like a fucking the movie 300, the Warriors meeting, at the battlefronts. And there's like a brawl. We're having a brawl in the hallway. It's right by our.
You actually had the brawl.
Door. Yeah. Oh yeah. We're this big man's throwing haymakers at everything. Guys are throwing punches at everyone. There was like 4 guys wrapped around this huge guy's arms, like trying to stop him from throwing punches. It was absolute mayhem in the hallway. Like we're talking like a 5 foot wide hallway, and there's like 50 guys trying to fight each other.
This is just like the Ripley hallway. Yeah.
Things happen. Anyway,
that senior stuff is wild.
Someone manages to like drag this big ogre out of here. Cops come, like he's getting arrested. Like things happen. It was great. Like that's just senior hockey, though.
But it is really interesting, right? Like everybody works all day. They love hockey so much that like they still got the competitive edge. They still want to play. They still want to try and beat someone else at something.
Yeah.
And like then you get them in different jerseys and shit gets carried away.
Yeah. And like, yeah, that's what I mean. And this was these were 2 guys. It was a complete, like the drunk guy forgot how he got kicked out of our room, went and told his bigger drunk buddy that we assaulted him basically. And they came down to start a fight. It was like,
well, and that's it's like when I talk in my shed, it's like those are the type of dudes that like they ruin hockey teams, they ruin everything. It's like,
yeah,
you get guys around like that, changes everybody's dynamic.
Well, I mean, ultimately we won the series, so yeah, so there you go.
Well, and did you win the fight?
Well, I mean, no, probably not. But they had the biggest guy in the fight. So
okay, Roscoe, you played some senior when you got out of New Hampshire, eh? And you had to get home to Rose to make old Rito because Roslyn was already there in the dorms, eh? You were probably drinking cheese sauce and making babies.
Well, the cheese sauce wasn't flowing that well at the time, but yeah, I don't have any real great memories. I just know I played a few different times.
You weren't on any good teams that like came close?
Never won a championship in senior.
Yeah.
Reid won one in senior. We never did.
You did win?
We won one, yeah. It was actually
Tavistock won.
It might have been the year. It might have been the year of the Shelburne fight in the hallway. It might have been the year we won. Actually, that probably brought us together.
Yeah, fights bring teams together.
Yeah, we want to.
No, actually, when you see shit that goes on in the NHL now, and you see people not fight, you're like, that doesn't bring teams together. Like when shit like that happens, if somebody goes and fights somebody, that's going to bring a team together. Like, it's crazy.
Got each other's back.
The team dynamic is not what it used to be. It's all about how skilled they are and how they can do all these fancy moves. There's
Michigan.
like the team dynamic is not what it was, right?
Yeah.
Weird times in the hockey world, but senior was quite the time, and I'm happy I did it. I met so many people around this area, and it made Kincardine feel like home, and Ripley, right? Like my kids go to Ripley. I played there, met a bunch of people, and like I go there to a game now, and I know everybody in the rink basically, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
It's really good that way.
That's what hockey does for you.
At the U7 match we watched on the weekend, you definitely were a celebrity in that arena.
Why?
I don't know. Everywhere we went, it was like, "Oh, Wally," and "Oh, hey, I was this, that." Oh, yeah, shooting the shit about you getting stuck in the side road, and
I've lived here now for like 6 years. I know people now.
Yeah, I know.
Took me some time.
It's just funny. It's funny.
I had to took me some time. I had to warm up, It's like when you join a new team in hockey, you gotta you can't be yourself until like they get to know you. And then once they get to know you, you're like, well, this is me.
Yeah. Just believe it.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, this is me.
Take it or leave it. Yeah. For sure.
And my U11 team's gonna kick the shit out of that team in Keedy tomorrow.
Keedy, yeah, okay. I'm gonna go on Google Maps and find out where that is.
Try and find the rink. You could drive right by it when your GPS is saying that's the rink, and you're like, can't be the rink.
No, there's no way.
There's no way that's a barn. And then you're like, oh, hold on. Then you go inside, you're like, that's the best rink I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's awesome. I can't wait to play there tomorrow or coach there tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Team's going to be buzzing. What else do we got? Roscoe, you got anything else for me before we shut her down? Let's see here. Do you know who Jeff Hicks is?
Jeff Hicks.
He was.
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I think I do. Trying to think where I know that name from.
Sports writer for the KW Record back in the day.
That's right. Okay, yeah. And,
Cullitons and Sure Kings. Do you know my website maker, clothes maker guy in the UK told me that there was a hoodie ordered in Canada, in my neck of the woods, and I said, well, who was it? Jeff Hicks.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
He's ordered a hoodie and it's on his way. He's getting it made and it's coming to Jeff Hicks in Canada, and that's the sports writer from when we were Sure Kings and Culliton. So
is he still right? Is he still right?
Remember the name? Yeah.
He's still giving her. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what he's all doing now, but he's ordered a hoodie. Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's really cool that like Jeff Hicks can be walking around with 2 L's and hockey tails.
I remember many a Saturday mornings.
He had a great play with words, didn't he? Like he played with words wonderfully.
Article in the paper being upset that he was critical of the team or whatever, right? Everyone read his articles about. He was the
junior B
Bob
guy
McKenzie of the Midwestern Junior B Loop.
He really was. He had us hanging on by a thread, and like he had a good play with words, and like he was also like honest, and like he was a good reporter. Still is, from what I understand. Okay. Yantzi, you got anything else for me? Or Reid? Reid, you got anything else for me before we shut her down?
Oh, I mean, I can't think of anything. I need to get off my chest, Wally.
No, it's been 2 hours, eh?
Yeah, it's gone by pretty quick.
It does happen fast when you're having fun. Time does fly when you're having fun. That's what they say, right?
I've got about 350 stories yet to tell, but I'll do that another time.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Like we could do it again.
I was when you had asked about the senior A story, and then you went to the bathroom there. Me and Ross talked for the whole time about I wasn't sure what story I could tell. I could do a 2-hour pod on just senior A. Like when you want to do like a senior A roundtable on here, Wally. I mean, I don't know how many other guys.
We could do that. We could definitely do that and talk about like what it's like. I played some of the teams and I met some guys that like it wouldn't be very hard to reach out to a few guys. And be let's have a chat about what this is like. Because you'd work all day and then you'd go home and like be like, kids, I'm gonna go do this. And then like, man, there was a time I was like ripping dudes' helmets off and like kicking them across the ice. I was so into it. And like we didn't get $1 for it. I didn't get a cent for it. I'm like, what am I doing?
We got mileage. I lived a mile all the way from the rink, so I didn't get much.
My kids were going to school at Ripley. I didn't get a cent.
Yeah. I could do a 2-hour pod just on me and Goodacre's battles over the 10 years. Like,
well, that guy's a donkey. If you're fighting a guy in non-equipment in the Ripley Arena in front of children and like like my children could have been at the game watching what was happening. It was mind blowing. I was on the ice watching it, but like to think about it now, like
there's more than a few instances with that specific team that I was involved with where it was one of those things where you're in the middle of it and you're like, is this happening? And then after the game, you're kind of like sitting around having 2 joints after the game. You're like, remember when that happened? And everyone's like, yeah, what the fuck was that? Like, what was going on there? They were, like.
And speaking of hockey. So I guess whatever. This is my shed. I can talk about whatever I want, right? Speaking of 2 joints, is our sponsor, Property Valet and StayInBlue.ca. Is when I stayed at the Roscoe's when I stayed at Roscoe's condo, I was staying with a fella that didn't know like these things were legal now in Canada, right? They were called gummies, right? And like they may look like gummy bears, but they can pack a punch. And this fella had never really tried them before. Well, they were out on the cutting board and the fella decided to try a bunch. They tasted good. He ate a bunch. And man, I tell you, can change your night when I saw what happened.
You should have went with a few instead of a bunch, for sure.
Especially when you use the word bunch, it can change your night real fast.
Right. And then, and that can all happen when you stay in blue.ca, folks. Check it out. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good exit.
I think so. And this has been another episode.
Chateau Ridge 202. That's the unit you want. When you're on Property Valet, Chateau Ridge 202. Book that one. That's
Chateau what?
Chateau Ridge 202. Unit
Chateau Ridge 202, folks.
That's the unit you want.
You can eat gummies off the cutting board just like that fella did that I don't know. And this has been another episode of 37 Ales and Hockey Tales with the Yantzi and Wally.